Hi everyone. Have you ever wanted to make tiramisu, or have you ever wanted to learn how to make tiramisu? Well, today I'm going to show you. It's super easy, super delicious. Tiramisu means pick-me-up cake in Italian, and it's fairly easy to make. So I thought I'd show you how to make it today. These are the ingredients that you will need. First of all, you need Savoiardi cookies. The important thing about this, if you can read it right there, is there are particular cookies that will hold up to the custard and the coffee that you're putting in your tiramisu. Do not mistake them for the lady fingers that they have in the store that are like cakes, that looks like finger cakes. These are hard cookies. So make sure you get the Savoiardi cookies, and you can find it down the Italian food aisle. Sometimes it's with the cookie in the cookie aisle, the Italian aisle. Just look around, ask your store. You also will need mascarpone, and that is how you say it, mascarpone. The E is pronounced A in Italian. Trust me, I lived there for 3 years. I know, it's not mascarpone, it's mascarpone. Nice thing about this mascarpone is they actually have a really good recipe on the side, and it's really accurate. I zhuzh it up just a little, but if you follow this recipe on the side, you're going to get an accurate representation of Italian mascarpone. You also need some type of cocoa. That's the unsweetened cocoa, just your regular cocoa that you use. Sugar, white sugar. I add a little vanilla to mine. This is not legit. This is my take on it. Pinch of kosher salt. Now remember, it's not table salt. If you can see really close, these are really big grains of salt. If you were to use table salt, that would be too much salt. Just a pinch of kosher salt. We'll also need 3 eggs, and you want them separated. You want the egg whites separated from your yolks. It's very important. You will also need a little container. I'm making a single serving, so whatever little container you think the cookies would look good in, you want that. Of course, you need your mixer. This is very important. You also need some strong coffee. Now you can buy instant espresso coffee in the store. If you look around, you can use that, or you can brew up some really strong coffee. Make sure once you have this done, you put it in a bowl like this, or a container like this, and you let it come to, at the very least, room temperature or cold. You do not want it warm, you do not want it hot. If you dip your cookies into the warm or hot liquid, the hot coffee, it will melt your cookies. You do not want that. They will start to dissolve. Mixer with a whisk attachment. It's a whisk attachment. If you only have a handheld mixer, well, that works too. It'll just take you a little longer. And I've already separated my egg yolks from my egg whites. I have in 2 separate bowls. This is important because you're going to beat up the egg whites in one bowl, and you don't want any fats in there at all. And yolks are fat. It'll break down your egg whites if you put them together. And you want your egg yolks to go in with your sugar and your mascarpone cream. First thing you want to do is put into your mixer your egg yolks, 3 egg yolks, half a cup of sifted sugar. Always sift your sugar. If you don't, you could get lumps and clumps, and I don't know, what good is that? Nobody wants lumps and clumps, right? We're going to pour that in to our egg whites. You can pre-beat, we're going to pour that into our egg yolks. Let me clarify. That is your egg yolk mixture, not your egg whites, your egg yolks. You can break up your egg yolks, beat them a little bit first if you want, but I pour it all in together. Scrape down your sides when you need to, because we want to make sure we get it all incorporated. You can see now the sugar and the egg yolks are starting to incorporate, and the color is changing on in there, isn't it? Whipping a lot of air into there. We're going to turn it up on high. Let's really whip that and make sure we get that sugar dissolved into the eggs. Check this, make sure we get all the egg and sugar incorporated. It's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to want to add 1 tablespoon of my cooled coffee. And that just reinforces the coffee flavor in the cream. Pour that in. I add a pinch of kosher salt. It doesn't call for it, but I add it because I think it just makes it taste better. Just a pinch. Pinch is a pinch. Not gobs, just a little. And then I like to add a little bit of vanilla. This is our homemade vanilla. And we're talking maybe a 1/4 teaspoon to a half, not much. Just seems to round out the flavor better. The pinch of salt and the vanilla is not in the recipe on our tub. I just happen to like it. Well, hopefully you can see it. So I add that. That's my own personal deal. Okay, let's beat this a little more. Once that's incorporated, that took 2-3 minutes, sometimes more. And I'm going to add the mascarpone cream. Say it with me, mascarpone. E is pronounced A in Italian, and A is pronounced A. All right, now I'm adding the mascarpone cream, and I'm going to mix this 3 to 5 minutes. You might have to start on low to get it mixed in, and then you can pick up the speed once it's incorporated. That won't take long, 30 seconds maybe. And now let's really turn it up. I like to stop periodically, of course, and scrape down our sides. We don't want to leave any of that nice mascarpone cream on the side of our bowl and not get it incorporated. You want to scoop the bottom. And if you're doing this with a hand mixer, you're just going to have to maybe keep going a little bit longer to get it where you want it. And we're really going to beat this now. 35 minutes. Continue to scrape down the sides after a minute or so. Make sure we're getting all that mixed up nice. Ooh, look, it's starting to get light and fluffy. Yum. Taste it. Oh, that's good. Yum. If there's somebody who can't handle raw eggs, don't feed them this because the eggs are raw. Okay, I'm going to test it, and I'm just fill it between my fingers. And if you feel any grit, that means the sugar hasn't dissolved yet, but I don't feel any grit. It feels nice and smooth. So this is ready to go. We're going to want to set this aside now and start to beat our egg whites. Make sure that you clean your whisk thoroughly. If you don't have another whisk to use right away, you need to make sure that you get this uber clean, because you don't want any grease. Your egg whites will never beat up if there's any grease on them. And obviously it's got cheese and egg yolks, and those have fats in them, and they will break down your egg white. So set this aside for now. Okay, I can't stress enough that this must be grease-free. Your whisk must be. Now we're going to beat our egg whites. And we want to get stiff peaks. Stiff peaks, well, I'll show you what stiff peaks mean once we get to that point. Okay. Put in your whisk. Make sure by the way, make sure your bowl is grease-free as well. Any grease will keep it from, beating up into your nice stiff peaks. It will never beat up if there's any grease in there. I'm going to put a pinch of sugar in there too. A pinch. Pinch is a pinch. Right there. And I like to start them on low to get them incorporated, get them all beat up, and slowly work my way up to a faster speed. So as you can see, the more we beat our egg whites, we're beating a lot of air in there, and it's making it light and fluffy, and it's adding lift. I'm going to check to see if we got stiff peaks. Here's a good way to check. Take it. Oh, look at that. That peak, can you see? Hopefully you can see. Here we go. Now you're in frame. See how that peak stands up? That's a stiff peak. It doesn't fall over. You get a nice stiff peak. Holds its shape. All right, this is ready to go. They're still a little bit glossy. They're not dry looking, your egg whites, and the peaks are stiff. You might want to check periodically to see how stiff they are. If they're not quite standing on their own yet, then go just a little bit longer, just until they stand on their own, and then you know you have the stiff peaks. All right, now we bring back in mascarpone cream mixture, and we're going to fold these egg whites into our nice mousse. Here's what you do with egg whites when you want to lighten your cream. It's a little thick, right? Just put a little bit in there and stir it in, and that will help to lighten the mascarpone cream so you can more easily incorporate it in with the egg whites, or vice versa, have the egg whites incorporated in. I'm only using a little bit, and I know I'm going to lose my lift with this, so that's why I'll use just a little bit of it, just to lighten this up, to make it easier to incorporate those egg whites. I'm going to take about half my egg whites. You say, oh no, there's fat, they're going to lose volume. Well, once you have beaten egg whites, they're more stabilized, and then you can use them in with fats and not have them break down on you so much. So that's why we beat them first without any fat. Now, folding is going down the side, going down to the bottom, and rolling over. So I'm going to just roll over. And the reason I'm not stirring it all in at this point in time is because I don't want to lose those nice, light, fluffy egg whites. I want to keep that softness and the airiness and make it a nice, light mousse. Okay, don't worry that it's not all incorporated. There's a little bit in there, but we're going to add more because we're going to add more. And we're going to keep folding over our mascarpone mousse or cream, whatever you want to call it at this point in time. I'm just going to keep folding in our egg whites. Do not get aggressive with this. We want to keep that fluffiness. Okay, that's the last of our egg white, and we're just going to keep folding it in, cutting through and folding it over. And we're going to want to get this pretty well incorporated. You don't want to see big globs of egg white that hasn't been incorporated. Just got to be gentle with it. On the side of the package, it does call for brandy. Traditionally, it's Marsala wine. They put in like a tablespoon or two in the cream. I can't stand the alcohol flavor, so I don't put it in. That is totally optional, and I don't care for the alcohol flavor, though they did it over in Italy, but I didn't like that part of it, so I make it without. Right, I have my little personalized container. This obviously is going to make more than this container, but I just wanted to show you a little one. And let me set my used stuff aside. We now need our cooled coffee and your pretty little container. You can put it in a round container. You just might have to trim the cookies to fit. This just seemed nice. They're going to fit right down in there like I like. I put just a little bit of mascarpone on the bottom first into my container. Okay. And now I'm going to dip each cookie, just one side of the cookie, into my cooled coffee. I'm not going to let it soak. Because let me tell you, these things will soak up coffee and get mushy right away. You don't want that. I really just want the bottom half of the cookie to receive the coffee and leave the top half clean from that. So it doesn't take long. So you can see it's been dipped. I'll put that right into my cream. Really doesn't take a long time, a couple seconds, if even a couple seconds. Right, that is our first layer. We're going to build like a lasagna, layers. Next, you're going to want to put in some more mascarpone cream on top of there. And we want to cover it. This recipe you would use 12 of the Savoiardi cookies, and I'm just wiping up my mess here so it'll stay pretty. I'm not putting a ton on, just covering up this layer of cookie. And I'm going to put on another layer. I don't know if you can see it. It's not super duper. Here, can you see that? Not super thick. Just a nice layer of it. Dunk my cookies again, matter of a second or two. And this one, I'm going to be able to fit in another cookie. I might have to trim it. We'll see. Maybe not. Okay. This is really filling up my container, but that's okay. We're going to go a little crazy here. All right, what I would do now, if I had higher sides, I would cover it in a whole nother layer of mascarpone. But I'm going to use a decorating bag with a big tip and control where I'm putting my mascarpone cream. Normally, you really want to have your sides high so that by the time you're done putting in the mascarpone cream as the last layer, you have room then to add your chocolate, your cocoa rather. So with this one, we're just going to put some dollops in. So once we're to this point, and by the way, like I said, you don't have to do it like me. I'm just doing it this way because I've gotten really too much in my bowl, and now I'm going to have to do it this way. You really want the sides to be taller all around so this sits down in. Okay, the last step is to take your cocoa powder and through a fine mesh sieve, just sprinkle it on top. You should probably do this on a cookie sheet so you don't have all this chocolate on your countertop. But I cheated. And that is how you make tiramisu. I wish I could cut into it right now, but with the cookies being so hard, you really want to wait at the very least 12 hours, preferably overnight, maybe 24 hours, and you want to eat it within 24 hours after that. You can freeze the rest. It does freeze well. I don't know if I can show you the sides or not, but there's 2 layers of cookies, and we have a little bit of cream on the bottom, a little mascarpone cream in the middle, and some on the top, with finishing with our cocoa. Finishing with our cocoa. And that is how you make tiramisu. The cheapest place I have found mascarpone is Walmart. Not every Walmart has it, but if yours does, you're lucky because it's about half the price. Otherwise, Safeway, Fry's, they have it, and it is considerably more, but man, is it worth it. All right, hopefully you try it on your own, and hopefully you like it. I wanted to show you that 1 tub of mascarpone recipe, if you use the 1 tub, the 8 ounces of mascarpone, and do it like the recipe says, would give you about a loaf size pan of tiramisu. You would just put a little cream in the bottom, dip your cookies, put them across, more of your mascarpone cream, more cookies, more mascarpone on top of that, and then sprinkle it with chocolate. The reason why I want you to use a deeper pan than what I did is that you don't want the tiramisu to come all the way to the top. You want to leave enough of an edge where you can put plastic wrap over it and let it set in the fridge overnight. Very important. And of course, you don't want the plastic wrap to touch your cocoa because it'll pull it up. If that does happen for some reason, because it's happened before, no big deal. When you get ready to serve it, sprinkle it with more cocoa, and no one will be the wiser. But so 1 whole tub of that mascarpone cream recipe would make about this size. And I'm not sure how many servings you can get out of it because, let's face it, when I eat it, I don't want to stop. So I don't know, 4? 2? one. Yum. That's a lot to eat for one person. But anyway, you make it and enjoy it.